Give them a round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Founders' Day ceremony. I just have a couple of housekeeping notices before we start. Firstly, if you haven't already done so, can you make sure that your cell phones are switched off? Secondly, you'll see in the program, we will be following this program without actually announcing anything, so things will just run according to that. But please note that we will not be singing the Jubilee song. Instead, Mr. Jackson will give his address directly after the pupil leaders have spoken about the history of Westerford. All right, could I invite you to stand for the stage party? Thank you. You may be seated. We're now going to ring the Founder's Bell. Each ring of the bell represents a decade in Westerford's life. We are 71 years old this year.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to this Founders Day Assembly today. Last year was our special 70th, and today is our 71st birthday celebration. So it's wonderful to invite all of you here with us today, and particularly the returning class of 1964, 1974, and 1984, and one or two other past pupils that have joined us today. Really a wonderful welcome to you, and I know you've enjoyed the morning with us. You're welcome in our assembly as we go forward. Also want to welcome Dr. Gibbon and Mr. Kane, a returning senior deputy, who are joining us today. And I also want to welcome everybody who's joining us on the streaming. We are streaming out to all Westerford audience around the world, into South Africa, and to families as well, all the parents who possibly are tuning in at work to join us today. So a warm welcome to all of you. Just want to explain the stage setup in case you haven't heard if you're streaming, why we normally put everybody on the stage. It's our school play on at the moment, Clue. Still a couple of seats left tonight and tomorrow night if you'd like to join us. But the set is behind us, and so we are down to just the essential people on the stage, and that's put us under a little bit of pressure in the hall, but that is why we are doing that. I hope that we just realize that as we celebrate a birthday, it's not just something that comes and goes. We are very proud of our founding past pupils and the people that made a huge influence in our school. And as we look back and we look forward, I've said to the Old Westerfordians who are returning today that we are very proud of them. We are very proud of you, Old Westerfordians, if you're streaming us. And I hope that as you look back at us, you are very proud of us as a school, that we uphold the values, we uphold the ethos of what you enjoyed at school, and it's a bit of a mutual relationship. So this morning, as we celebrate, as we hear somebody speak from the 1974 year, as we celebrate giving awarding of the Nisi Optimum Award, and hear the video of the recipient from 1997, we are very proud of our Old Westerfordians. So happy birthday, Westerford, and enjoy the celebrations hereon.
I shall read Love Poem for My Country by Sindile Fikeni. My country is for love, so say its valleys where ancient rivers flow, the full circle of life under the proud eye of four birds adorning the sky. My country is for peace, so says the veldt where reptiles caress its surface with elegant motions glittering in their pride. My country is for joy, so talk the mountains with baboons hopping from boulder to boulder in the majestic delight of cliffs and peaks. My country is for health and wealth. See the blue of the sea, and beneath the jewels of fish, deep under the bowels of soil, hear a golden voice, a miner's praise in my country. My country is for unity. Feel the millions. See their passion. Their hands are joined together. There is hope in their eyes. We shall celebrate.
Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome. I am not reading what is in the program. I have rewritten my words of appreciation this morning. And the reason being that this is my final event as the chair of the school governing body of Westerford High School. We will be holding elections for the new SGB next week and have a remarkable list of potential parent representatives. I have served 4 years on the SGB and 2 years as chairperson. I am a single working mom to a matric boy and came to South Africa with my family as refugees from Mozambique in the 70s, growing up here as a designated white person under apartheid in rural South Africa. I wish I had attended a school like Westerford. Today I would like to pay tribute to the old Westerfordians on this Founders' Day, and also to all women who strive to raise their children to the best of their abilities, often under challenging circumstances on this International Women's Day. I have been honoured to serve Westerford High School, and on behalf of the outgoing school governing body, I would like to express deep appreciation for the school, the learners and learner reps on the SGB, the staff and the staff reps on the SGP, the deputy heads, and especially the principal and my fellow parent SGB members. We so appreciate the opportunities that Westerford provides for each of us and for the rich heritage established by the generations that come before us, upon which we have built. We are conscious also of the inequalities of our past history, the ongoing legacy of apartheid that means Westerford is a highly privileged school amongst an enduring inadequate education system for many, and the need to build an equitable society. We acknowledge the vision of the founders of our school and the work and example of old Westerfordians. During the past 2 years, we have collectively reworked the vision to encompass our current strategic imperative. At Westerford, this is the vision. At Westerford, we pursue a culture of diversity and shared belonging with an ongoing commitment to transformation. We are committed to a holistic education that leads our learners towards excellence and inspires socially conscious, ethical, and resilient individuals who contribute meaningfully to society. This vision is underpinned by the school policies we have developed over the past few years, such as our anti-racism policy, our admissions policy, as well as various initiatives to build an inclusive school for the well-being of our learners. We commit to continue to work together for the good of our school, our country, and the world, and for the fulfillment of the potential of all who learn and work here. I am grateful, ever so grateful, that my son has been grounded in the values and vision of Westerford. I know this will stand him in good stead to be secure in himself, to take action against injustice, and pursue his future endeavours as a well-rounded old Westerfordian. Just yesterday, he took a copy of Steve Biko's book, I Write What I Like, to read as research for a history essay. Proud mom and proud Westerfordian. I cannot fail, though, to mention in my personal capacity and in solidarity with this vision, at this shared moment, the humanitarian nightmare for the women, children, and youth of Gaza. The impact on the education sector is unprecedented. Not one child remains in school in Gaza. The IDF invasion has completely or partially destroyed 346 schools. Amongst the dead are 231 teachers and at least 4,327 students. These are conservative estimates. We must acknowledge this horrific devastation, the atrocities on 7th of October, and at the same time condemn all forms of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia that have arisen. We need an immediate ceasefire, a return of the Israeli hostages, humanitarian assistance to rebuild Gaza and return children to learning, and a recognition of the right to self-determination for Palestinians where people can live in freedom and dignity. We must continue to support and defend the Constitution of South Africa and international human rights for all. We must work to heal the divisions of the past and contribute towards an inclusive, non-racial, non-sexist society based on democratic values, environmental and social justice. And we must strive to build a united South Africa that stands up for social justice in the family of nations. Thank you.
Westerford owes its origins to the growing need for secondary schooling in the southern suburbs in the 1950s. The school was opened on the 21st of January 1953 in the temporary premises in Dean Street. During the second term of that year, the 29 members of the foundation class, amidst great excitement, carried their desks down Dean Street and into the Klein Westerford estate, where classrooms were fashioned in the old homestead. The site is truly a historic one. In pre-colonial times, it was a wooded mountainside where the wild animals roamed among the forest and the fynbos. The nearby banks of the Westerford River offered water and grazing to the Khoi pastoralists. The arrival of the colonists brought great changes to the site, not all of which were beneficial to either the environment or the Khoi. But the site the site became firstly a productive farm and then a gracious homestead. Reminders of this past include the Westerford outspan in front of the school, where the travellers outspanned their animals and allowed them to graze and drink before crossing the Westerford River at the ford at the bottom of Dean Street.
When the present school buildings were constructed, great pains were taken to preserve the chestnut trees, which date back to the time of the first Dutch settlers, and stand as symbols of the strength and character that is now associated with Westerford. The beauty of the site, with its magnificent view of Devil's Peak, inspired the design of the emblem and the school colours. Mr. Noel Taylor, who served as principal from July 1953 until 1976, was a man of great vision who was fired with enthusiasm for Westerford. He, along with his wife Muriel and the other founders of Westerford, believed that the school would develop from these humble beginnings into a magnificent institution, commanding respect far beyond the bounds of the Cape Peninsula. The staff and pupils who have followed the founders have endeavored to translate this belief into reality.
Good afternoon. Allow me to digress before I get into what I wanted to say from the class of 74. When I got here earlier, Cheryl was here and she took me around and we walked around and we bumped into a number of Westerford pupils. It was so nice. Their openness, their greetings, it was really, really lovely. Secondly, I'm a retired high school teacher. Mr. Smith referred to how they were proud of past pupils. But when I was in the class and kids said to me, "What school did you go to?" And I said, "Westerford." Never was there a negative comment, only positive comments. And so to Mr. Smith and the staff and to this body of learners, well done on making it that we are able to be proud that we went to Westerford. On with my talk. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Some thoughts from the class of 74. Every day we face decisions, from small ones to large ones, and all these compound to define who you are. We have chosen 7 scenarios where we wished someone had said something to us when we were at high school. They won't all resonate with you, but hopefully 1 or 2 of these scenarios will gel with you and stick with you and decide you need to do something about it. You can Google all these things, and I encourage you to do that, but remember that Abraham Lincoln said 50% of what you find on the internet is false. My first point is decide to look after your health. Someone once described teenagers as, "It will never happen to me." So look after your health, and some of them might sound stupid. Floss between your teeth, and you won't regret it. And I mean that sincerely. Do some form of exercise, but make sure the form of exercise that you do is something that you can take on when you're older. If you love rugby, that's great, play rugby, but have some other form of outlet of exercise, because to look after your health, you need to be doing something in the exercise reign. So do that. And lastly, on the decide to look after your health, monitor your weight. When I was at school, I was a skinny, malinky little beanstalk. And the last thing that ever crossed my mind was that I would have a problem with weight. Now I do. And so what I'm saying is monitor your weight and keep a record of it because it's for your health. So that you can look at those records and depend on your body type. Maybe you keep a record every year, every week, every month. If you're one of those people who puts on weight easily, then that's what you need to do. But keep a record of your weight so you can refer to it. Secondly, decide on a point of getting to know those in your grade. And here I'm not only talking to matrics, talking to all the grades. When I hear some of the memories, so we've got a little WhatsApp group, well, a little WhatsApp group, it's become a huge thing, but we've got this WhatsApp group. And people, classmates are sharing memories of what they remember. And I stop and I look at them and I think, was I actually at school with these guys? I don't remember these memories. But what's even worse is that I don't even remember some of my classmates. So I'm saying to you now, decide to get to know those people in your grade and beyond. Make sure you know them. You're fortunate now because photos are very easy to take and photos will keep those memories alive. But get to know the people in your grade so that when you get to this stage and where we can't remember some of our classmates, you at least will have those memories kept alive by photos, etc., etc. Thirdly, decide to worry less about what people think of you. Why? Well, the truth is that they probably aren't thinking of you anyway. But they possibly are also experiencing the exact same insecurities and unhappiness that you are enduring. So sometimes those hang-ups and those insecurities are good because those hang-ups and insecurities, they keep you questioning and looking for answers, and that's good. And yes, those hang-ups might change week by week, but at least you're growing. Fourthly, decide on who to befriend and who needs it. When you walk around at break and you notice certain individuals who are sitting on their own eating their lunch, for me it was one of the saddest things to walk around at break and see some people, and always the same people, sitting there eating their lunch on their own. And it was very sad because as a teacher there was very little I could do. I could encourage others to go and befriend them, but they didn't want to do it out of their own. And so what I'm saying to you is please remember to reach out in kindness. As a learner, you can reach out in kindness. As a learner, you can change someone's life. Fifthly, decide to be kind and respectful always. You're not a hero because you can swear at someone. You're not a hero because you can be rude. When I was a teacher, there was one guy who was involved in most of the fights, the clashes, and his name was Joe. He was involved in probably 90% of the clashes. And I was there for a long time, but he was always there involved. In fact, maybe some of you didn't know him. His surname was Massa. Joe Massa was a common denominator in many, many fights. Now is the time to be kind and respectful, and decide it now to be kind and respectful for the rest of your life. Whether you are dealing with a 2-year-old or a 102-year-old, you need to be kind and respectful. Sixthly, I've only got 7. Decide to always show your gratitude and acknowledge people. Don't be afraid to say thank you. When last did you thank your mom for supper? When last did you thank your teacher for a lesson you enjoyed? When last did you thank your teacher for marking your scripts, even though you might not have got what you wanted? Be prepared, make a decision that I will thank people who are important in my life and do it generously. And lastly, start a group where the details are kept of phone numbers and email addresses, etc. And again, I'm not only talking to groups, I'm talking all grades. Set a date and a time for an annual reunion. For example, St. James Beach, 9 o'clock, third Thursday in November of every year at 6 o'clock. And the reason why I say these things is because our class of 74, we probably haven't contacted 25% of our class because we don't know how to. We tried, we've had detectives on the job, but we haven't managed to contact them. So start up those groups. Of course, in 50 years' time, it might be easier. Maybe what you can then do is then think, well, I wonder how Johnny is, and your neuro-holograph will communicate with all the possible people who are named such, and you can communicate with them. But I don't know how that will work out. But going back to those WhatsApp groups, don't be rude, don't be critical, and don't be hurtful. Remember that school is not always the same walk for you as it was for others. And be respectful of that. I would like to leave you with some comments in summary. Our class of 74 has faced many struggles, and they have been knocked down again and again. But Confucius said, our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fail. I think our classmate Mareka did a bit better, and I want to quote her what she shared. I think we have each arrived at this point today having struggled. In this struggle we make choices that don't necessarily always turn out to be the best ones for us. We fall off, we push ourselves off, or life pushes us off its cliff. We land at the bottom in a heap, hurt and broken, but eventually we pick ourselves up. We learn that we have to start again or try again. With enough of these meetings at the bottom of the cliff, we gain a little confidence because we know, hey, I've been here before. With repetition, you get a better understanding of how to try again. And then no matter what life throws at you, you can overcome it. No matter what, no matter how hard, you can do it. It just takes that one little step. I would like to close by leaving you with a quote from Eddie Yaku. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. J-A-K-U. Google him. He's an Auschwitz survivor. He died in 2021. And he had his book, I'm the Happiest Man Alive, published when he was 100. This is what he said. Your efforts today will affect people you will never know. It is your choice whether that effect is positive or negative. You can choose every day, every minute, to act in a way that may uplift a stranger or else drag them down. The choice is easy, and it's yours to make. And so remember, you will find yourself at the bottom of the cliff often, but get up and try again, because I am the choices I make. Thank you.
The known Nisi Optimum Award, presented annually, is one which honours old Westerfordians who, through giving nothing but their best, have produced work of excellence and have made significant contributions in their particular field and more broadly. It gives me great pleasure to read the citation for this year's recipient, Yewande Omotosho. Yewande Omotosho was born in Barbados and grew up in Nigeria. As a young girl, her family moved to Cape Town. She attended Westerford from grade 8 and matriculated in 1997. At Westerford, Yewande immersed herself in all the school had to offer, especially within the cultural sphere. She was a member of the Music, Art and Drama Society, called MAD, took music as a subject, playing recorder and piano, sang in the choir, and directed her house's play, a play which she wrote. That was called the Inter-House Play Festival. An avid writer, her poems were regularly published in the school magazine. After she matriculated, she studied architecture at the University of Cape Town and, while practicing, completed an MA in creative writing, also at UCT. For 6 years, Yewande worked as an architect. In her spare time, she was busy writing her first novel, Bomb Boy. Published in 2011, Bomboy won the Essay Literary Award, First Time Author Prize. In 2012, she resigned from her position in architecture to focus on what had become her primary passion, writing. Her second novel, The Woman Next Door, was longlisted for the Bailey's Women's Literature Prize and shortlisted for the International Dublin Literary Award. It was a finalist in the Hurston Wright Legacy Award for Fiction and has been translated into Catalan, Dutch, French, German, Italian, and Korean. In 2013, Yewande was shortlisted for the Etisalat Prize for Literature and was a 2015 Miles Moreland Scholar. Her novel, An Unusual Grief, was longlisted for the International Dublin Literary Award and shortlisted for the Republic of Consciousness Prize. She has also written numerous short stories. Her story, Things Are Hard, was published in the prestigious Kane Prize anthology. In addition to her ongoing writing, Yewande teaches creative writing workshops and since 2019 has worked as a storytelling advisor for Greenpeace International. All these achievements within the world of literature make Yewande Omotosho a most worthy recipient of Westerford High School's Nisi Optimum Award. Right, we are now going to listen to a presentation that was recorded recently by Yewande.
I greet you all. To receive this award is an unqualified honor. And when I heard of it, well, let's just say I haven't been that surprised. To receive this award is an unqualified honor. Thank you to all of those that made this honor possible. Well, let's just made it possible in the past for others. You make it possible for me now in the present, and you will go on making it possible in the future. Thank you for that. Dr. Gibbon, a very special thank you to you. I know decades have passed, but your twinkly eyes, lightness of step, and steady tone of voice still follow me around to this day. As is fitting, I think, of any passage into adulthood, Westerford for me was a time of terror, delight, lifelong friendships, requisite embarrassment, hope, and creativity. I would be remiss not to mention the inimitable Dr. James Bissett, who is responsible for the fact that I know words like inimitable. The fact that I survived most of my subjects but thrived in history and English, I ascribe to him. I accept this award in honor of my father, who died just under a year ago now, at the lyrical age of 80. I mention my father because on an occasion such as this one, it seems fitting to conjure up wisdom, grace, humor, stubbornness, and kindness, all of which my father seemed to have in abundance. On an occasion like this, undoubtedly joyous and celebratory, it might seem odd or even inappropriate to mention the dearly departed. But I believe that an occasion is best marked when it's held in a spectrum of emotions. Being sad is a natural part of life. I try to remember this now in my role as mother to two pugnacious 3-year-olds, twin boys. Of course, they are frequently sad, and we call it different things. We have different names for it. We might call it tantrums. We may call it acting up or acting out. I prefer to think of these as moments of frustration or even just sadness. And while it might not be common practice, I have learned to pay attention to these sadnesses when they occur, regardless of how dramatic or, to my adult eyes, ridiculous they may seem. Because I believe in the legitimacy of sadness, especially in a world where happiness is paraded as the more acceptable of our family of emotions, while sadness is all but ignored and maligned. The result being, we learn to be comfortable around happiness, and sadness we never quite know what to do with. I've tried to learn to allow the children their sadnesses. I say many things to my kids, but I will seldom say, stop crying. Or, let me be honest, I am, after all, the mother of 3-year-old twins. There are times when their strident cries are fit to drive me to drink. But in general, I try to listen. I may say, oh, I see you're sad, or I see you're angry with me, or whoever it is on that day. And I let them be sad. Most importantly, unless there's a wound to dress or a life-threatening situation, I don't necessarily do anything to stop the crying or fix it. The same way that I may observe them being joyous, I sit and bear witness to their despair. So why do I come here today and recount such a thing? Half of you young people are possibly far from considering navigating parenthood, and the other half might well be in it, and you have the day off and you don't want to be reminded. But jokes aside, really what I wish to say is that it is my young children that have taught me not only to be with their sadness, but my own. And I am fully convinced that it is not my capacity to be in joy and ecstasy that determines the quality and profundity of my life, but also my ability to sit and be with the more uncomfortable parts. Because which Westerfordian teacher was it that said, wherever you go, there you are. We cannot run away from ourselves. I'm 44, which must to many occur as old. I don't call it one thing or the other, I just like the number. And when I look back over those years, I know that my capacity to carry joy was always sharpened by my capacity to bear with despair. If I numb myself to what is painful, I will lose what is blissful. Because at the end of the day, it's all a family of feelings. And I've learned not to try and exclude any, which is not to say I welcome sadness, but when it arrives, I say, that feeling again. Let me see what it's about this time. I greet it with curiosity and with the conviction, proven or not, that it will pass. And that I can reach out for something, some help, some solace, if it all seems too much. One of my favorite poems is by a man named Andrew Harvey. He writes, if you're really listening, if you're awake to the poignant beauty of the world, your heart breaks regularly. In fact, your heart is made to break. Its purpose is to burst open again and again so that it can hold ever more wonders. I know it might seem like a strange blessing to bestow, but I wish you an abundance of heartbreak. I hope that you understand in doing so what I am really wishing for you is a massive, massive heart able to open itself up to the magic of life, the sharp turns, the ugliness, the surprises, good and bad, the splendor and gentleness, to go the distance and swallow life up full and unfettered. Good luck, and see you not on the stands, but out there in the field. Thank you.
Yewande lives in Johannesburg. She had an 11:30 meeting, which she thought might be over by now. So Yewande, whether you are watching the stream right now or perhaps a recorded version, thank you very much for that lovely presentation and congratulations.
Founders Day is a highlight on our school calendar each year, and as this assembly starts to draw to a close, there are a number of people to thank for making this day the special celebration that it is. Firstly, our very special Old Westerfordians, and in particular, the class of 1974. Thank you for your attendance here today, many of you making the effort to travel from very far away. Thank you to Ms. Yewande Omotosho for so graciously accepting the Nisi Optimum Award, for her inspiring words and for the example she sets for our Westerfordians to follow. to Mr. Ian Jackson. Sir, thank you for addressing us today. We learned so much about the power of decision making, the importance of kindness, and the story of Mr. Joe Massa. Thank you to the various contributors to the program and ceremony. Ms. Cheryl Stevens of the class of 1974, who read Love Poem for My Country. Dr. Solange Rosa as our outgoing SGB chairperson for the words of appreciation for Westerford, and the pupil leaders and other pupils who braved the stage to contribute their parts. We extend an extra special thank you to our special guests, Mr. John Gibbon, past principal, and Mr. Anthony Kane, past deputy principal, for your attendance and continued support for Westerford. And lastly, the organization of this day is a team effort, and the final thanks go to the various staff members and pupils who each had a role to play and contribution to make. While we do not have the time to mention each by name, please know that your contributions are appreciated. I now call on Inganati Mgaba, Luya Marks, and Annabella Dulwich to say the school pledge on behalf of the Westerford pupil body.
Egameni labo bonke abakhoyo siyathembisa ukuthembeka kwi-Westerford. Sizama ngalo lonke ixesha ukuqwesa.
Namens almal hier vergader, beloof ons om loyaal aan Westerford te bly en om ons allerbeste te gee.
On behalf of all present, we promise to be loyal to Westerford, trying always to do nothing but our best.